Welcome, mystic seekers, to Mystic Manor, where history meets mystery. Today, we're venturing into the diverse and fascinating world of afterlife beliefs across cultures. From the sacred groves of the Celts to the dark mystical underworld of the Aztecs, we will uncover how different societies envision the realm that lies beyond death. What awaits us after we take our last breath? So prepare yourself. Let go of earthly ties as we embrace the unknown and step into the mysteries that await beyond the grave, into the mystical landscapes of the afterlife. For centuries, humanity has sought to understand what lies beyond. In the heart of these beliefs is the idea that death is not an end, but a passage, a journey into realms where the soul continues to exist, whether in the blissful otherworld, the halls of Valhalla, or the shadowy underworlds guarded by formidable deities. Across cultures and time, the afterlife has been imagined as a place of both wonder and fear, where the spirits of the deceased find new purpose and meaning. Today, we delve into these ancient beliefs, exploring how the afterlife was envisioned by various cultures across the globe, revealing the threads that connect us to the mysteries of existence itself. Our first stop on this journey through the afterlife takes us to ancient Egypt, where beliefs in the afterlife were deeply intertwined with the journey of the soul. The Egyptians believed that life on Earth was just a brief moment in the grander scheme of existence. After death, the soul embarked on a perilous journey through the Duat, the Egyptian Underworld, where it faced trials and judgments. The ultimate goal was to reach the Field of Reeds, a paradise where the soul could live eternally in peace. Access to the Duat involved a combination of physical preparation, funerary rituals, and spiritual guidance. Tombs were considered sacred portals to the Duat. They were carefully constructed not only to house the deceased, but also to serve as a gateway to the afterlife. Elaborate burial practices, including mummification, tomb construction, and the inclusion of grave goods, were all designed to protect the soul and ensure its successful passage through the Duat. The Duat was not a single place, but a vast, mysterious realm filled with rivers of fire, dark caverns, and magical gates guarded by fearsome deities and monsters. The ultimate goal of this journey was to reach the Field of Reeds, also known as Aru, a paradisiacal realm where the soul could live eternally in peace, abundance, and happiness. The Field of Reeds was envisioned as a perfect version of the world the Egyptians knew, with fertile fields, clear waters, and endless harvests. Here, the soul would be reunited with loved ones, and life would continue in a state of eternal bliss, free from the suffering and hardships of the mortal world. Central to the journey through the Duat was the pivotal and climactic moment known as the Weighing of the Heart ceremony. It took place in the Hall of Two Truths, also known as the Hall of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, balance, and cosmic order. The deceased was required to address each of the 42 assessors of Ma'at. These deities were responsible for reviewing the deceased's moral conduct. During the judgment ritual, the deceased would recite a list of declarations affirming that they had not committed specific sins during their lifetime. This was a way to prove their purity and adherence to moral principles. After the initial assessment by the 42 assessors, the deceased heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. This ceremony was conducted by Anubis, the god of funerary practices. Anubis placed the heart of the deceased on a scale, where it was weighed against the feather of Ma'at to assess the individual's moral integrity. If the heart was light and pure, unburdened by the weight of sin and wrongdoing, it balanced with the feather. This balance signified that the soul had lived a life in accordance with Ma'at's principles: truth, justice, and harmony. After this ceremony, The final trial determines if the departed are deserving to face Osiris, the god of the dead and ruler of the underworld, and gain access to the field of reeds. The soul would be brought before Osiris for ultimate judgment. The deceased was presented as one who had successfully passed the test of moral virtue. If Osiris approved, the soul was granted entry into the field of reeds, where it would enjoy eternal life among the gods, ancestors, and other righteous souls. If the heart was found to be heavy with sin, weighed down by lies, cruelty, or impiety, it tipped the scale. This imbalance sealed the soul's fate, for it meant that the individual had failed to live in accordance with Ma'at's divine order. In such cases, the heart was cast down to be devoured by Ammit, the fearsome devourer of the dead. Ammit was a terrifying creature with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, all animals the Egyptians feared. The devouring of the heart by Ammit resulted in the soul's complete annihilation, condemning it to eternal oblivion, a fate worse than death, as it meant the soul would cease to exist entirely. This belief shaped the Egyptians' actions in life, encouraging them to live virtuously to secure a favorable judgment in the afterlife. For the ancient Egyptians, the afterlife was all about how you lived. But for this next culture, the path to the afterlife took a different turn. Where you ended up didn't depend on how you lived, but how you died. In Aztec mythology, the destination of a soul after death depended on how the person died, rather than how they lived. The Aztecs believed that the heavens were divided into 13 layers, each representing a different aspect or level of the celestial realm. These layers were inhabited by various gods and deities, each with their own specific roles and attributes. Mictlán is the main underworld realm where most souls journey after death. To embark on this journey, individuals were buried in a crouched position, accompanied by objects meant to assist them in the afterlife. These items included water, the dog encountered at the first level of the underworld, a jade bead symbolizing the deceased's heart at the 7th level, and personal possessions to offer Mictlán Te Kutli, the god of death, or Mictacasihuatl, Lady of the Dead, upon reaching the 9th realm. After 4 days, the burial took place, marking the deceased's passage into Mictlán. The 9 challenges lasted 4 years, and every 4 years a ceremony was held at the burial site to aid the deceased in completing their journey to rest their soul. The first challenge along this path was the place where the dog lives. Here, souls were greeted by the sacred show, Lewit's Queenly dogs, who served as guides for the dead. These loyal companions were thought to help the departed cross the treacherous river. The river was guarded by a fearsome giant iguana. Only those worthy to be aided by the dogs could pass beyond this guardian and continue their descent into the depths of the underworld. Only those who had treated dogs kindly during their lifetime could count on the dog's assistance. The undeserving were left stranded, unable to continue their journey. The next challenge is the place where the mountains meet. Here, 2 towering hills crash together endlessly. The soul must time its movement carefully to avoid being crushed. Once beyond the mountains, they face the obsidian path. This is no ordinary hill. Its surface is lined with sharp shards of obsidian, slicing at anyone who dares to walk through. Every step is filled with pain, but the trials don't end there. Next, they enter the land of endless snow. Here, freezing winds whip through the air, sharp rocks, and a non-stop blizzard beats down on them. Surviving this brutal, frozen world is a test of endurance. The next stage of the journey brings the dead to a strange and chaotic region, known as the place where people fly and flip like a flag. This 5th region is an endless desert with fierce, cold winds. There is no gravity, with the souls getting swept up into the air, forced to surf the wild gusts in order to escape this wind-torn wasteland. After battling the winds, they reach the place where arrows dart you. Here, invisible hands launch sharp arrows from every direction, striking at the souls as they try to cross the treacherous path. As the journey through the Mictlán continued, the dead would reach the place where you get your heart eaten. In this treacherous region, wild beasts, often depicted as jaguars, lurched about, ready to devour the hearts of souls passing through. To outwit these fearsome creatures, the deceased had to present a stone that resembled a heart. Emerging from the seventh region, the souls would then face the place where you have to cross water. This area required them to navigate the dark, foreboding waters of a daunting crossing that tested their resolve. As we journey through the ninth and final region of the Mictlán, we reach the place where there are 9 waters. Here, the souls face their most profound challenge yet. They must cross 9 rivers, each representing a unique trial. This final step is not just a physical journey, but a deeply spiritual one. Amidst dense fog and extreme fatigue, the dead traverse these 9 rivers. The obscured vision and exhaustion force them into a profound state of reflection, where they are compelled to review their life decisions and actions. This moment of deep introspection leads them to connect with their past experiences. By coming to terms with their past and unifying with their surroundings, the deceased finally achieve a state of liberation. This process allows them to reunite with their soul. Upon completing this transformative journey, they are welcomed by the rulers of Mictlán. A failure in one of the 9 challenges might result in a range of outcomes, from intense suffering to prolonged delays and additional trials. The souls who could not overcome these obstacles might find themselves trapped in a state of limbo. The consequences of failure thus underscored the gravity of each trial and the critical role that successful navigation of the underworld played in securing a place in the eternal rest of Mictlán. While the Aztecs believed the fate of your soul was determined by how you died, our next culture offers a different path, one where the afterlife is shaped not by death, but by realms tied to nature and the mystical forces that govern it. Our understanding of Celtic religion is limited, with only a few tangible clues to guide us. These include wooden idols, artifacts, and inscriptions from the Roman period, some Roman and Greek accounts, and the remains of ancient ritual sites, which are often hard to decipher. Much of what is referred to as Celtic lore actually stems from later interpretations, primarily from the 19th and 20th centuries, rather than from the ancient Celts themselves. In Celtic mythology, they believe in the concept of the Otherworld, a hidden, mystical realm that exists parallel to our own. This otherworld is not a distant, separate place like the Christian notion of heaven, but rather an enigmatic dimension that overlaps with our reality, separated by a thin veil. In Celtic mythology, some suggest that the otherworld can be divided into 2 realms, the Sidhe and High Brazil. Sidhe, while generally used as a collective term for supernatural beings or fairies, it can also be referred as the Hollow Hills that the Tuatha De Danann inhabit. High Brazil is portrayed as a land of great beauty, abundance, and magical qualities. It is often seen as a paradise or utopia, inhabited by supernatural beings or gods. It is said to emerge from a blanket of fog or rise up from below the waves once every 7 years. The Celtic Otherworld represents a parallel dimension filled with enchanting landscapes and spiritual entities. In some interpretations of Irish mythology, the Otherworld is not only the home of deities and spirits, but also where the dead reside before being reborn. When a human finds his way into these Sidhe, it is usually on one of the fire festivals, Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lunasa. During certain times of the year, on these days, especially during Samhain around what we now know as Halloween, and Beltane. The veil between these realms becomes thinner or briefly disappears, making it easier to pass between them. Fairies, spirits, and deities could walk about the earthly realm. The Celtic Otherworld is either depicted as the dwelling place of their gods, the realm of the dead, or sometimes both. In some tales, it is described as a magical paradise where inhabitants experience eternal youth, perfect health, and beauty, living in happiness and abundance. It could also be the home of fairies, such as the Ishi, and other similar mystical beings. The Otherworld is typically concealed and hard to access, though certain individuals of great merit manage to find their way through their own endeavors. Others might be invited or guided by its inhabitants, or receive signs leading them there. Entry is sometimes found through ancient burial mounds or by crossing water, like rivers or the sea. Special locations, such as lakes, bogs, caves, are also believed to serve as gateways to and from the Otherworld. The beliefs in the afterlife are as diverse as the cultures that hold them, each offering a unique perspective on what lies beyond the veil. Whether it's the Egyptian Duat, the Aztec Mictlán, or other sacred realms, these beliefs reflect humanity's enduring quest to understand the mysteries of existence and the fate of the soul. In the end, these varied visions of the afterlife remind us that death is not just an end, but a continuation, a journey into the unknown, where the soul finds new meaning and purpose. So as we walk through life, let us remember the wisdom of these ancient beliefs and the comfort they offer in the face of life's greatest mystery. Thank you for joining me for this mystical story. Until next time, stay mystical.